What's happening, guys? Welcome to Let's Talk Comics, and today I want to talk about my absolute favorite comic that I read for the week. Normally it takes me quite a while to get to what I call the best of to get a chance to make a video highlighting the best comics that I read of the week, but this time I was really able to get on top of things, and I read all my comics yesterday and just wrapped up today. And this week, the only book that really stood out to me that I feel like labeling the best of the best is Ryan North's Doom Quest #2. Now, essentially, the quick pitch of this series is Dr. Doom recognizes the limitations that Latveria has as a country. So he wants to travel back in time and set things up so that Latveria becomes a powerhouse country. Things go wrong or whatever, and he is now what I call quantum leaping through time. You know, he arrives in a time period and he is Doom, but he does not look like Doom. He looks like somebody else. And this issue right here, I found really, really well done. Ryan North has a very great voice for Doom. Since I only got one issue this week, we'll kind of go through it a little bit. So essentially what we have, Doom wakes up, or his time travel puts him into the body of someone who is on the Titanic. Doom recognizes that he is on the Titanic, and Doom knows his history. He knows that the Titanic is going to sink, and so he immediately takes control of the situation. And throughout this whole issue, we see Doom trying to take charge, trying to do what he can to prevent the Titanic from sinking, because that is, he doesn't want to get sunk while he's on the ship, so to speak. So we have a lot of really great interactions with Doom, people trying to stop Doom. Now, bear in mind, they cannot see that this is Dr. Doom. They think this is just some dude. We, the reader, see him as Doom, but everyone else that's on the Titanic sees them as, just like a person or whatever. And his first attempt at stopping the Titanic from crashing, he goes, "By my actions, my choices, the Titanic survived. Her captain was asleep. Her first officer was attempting the impossible. Only I could save her." And the reporters, they say, "I have professors who assure me the first officer's maneuver would have succeeded, sir. And even should Titanic would have been wounded, well, sir, she's more than proven herself unsinkable." And Doom, and then this other guy, he goes, "And what of the scores of her forward section crushed in that," what does that say? "In their beds." So Doom, to prevent the Titanic from sinking, he made a maneuver with the ship, and although the ship did not sink, some part of the ship was destroyed, so a great many people were lost. And now the reporters, they're grilling Doom and finding out telling him that his move was not necessary. And of course, Doom says, he goes, "As part of my reward," he goes, "all nations of the world are to offer aid to Latveria." And all nations of the world are to offer aid to Latveria so that she may be elevated to her rightful position as the greatest nation of all time. And that is met with a tremendous amount of laughter. People laughing at Doom's country. Doom grabs a pistol and just blasts this guy right in the head. He's not going to take people laughing at him. And he just starts opening fire on all these reporters and all these journalists or whatever. So then he gets shot down by this guy, and then Doom dies. And then the whole situation starts over again. So essentially, Doom is trying to, it's very much like a Groundhog's Day type situation. And Doom is trying to prevent the Titanic from sinking and getting the ending that he wants. He wants Latveria, he wants his reward or his recognition to benefit Latveria and elevate it. And like I said, we see some really cool methods or really cool characterizations of Doom, throughout this story. But my absolute favorite part is right here. So Doom, he's sinking into the water. And this is right here. This shows the willpower of Doom. And I'll read the narration here. Those who drown invariably share one commonality: water in their lungs. In their agony, their crazed panic, they all cannot resist the urge to inhale, even knowing they're surrounded by water. It is a desperate, mad, pitiful, futile hope for a miracle. And it is one all succumb to moments before their deaths. Moments before their death. All that is but Doom. For Doom does not panic, and Doom most certainly does not succumb. Soon my lungs will burn. Soon each cell in my body will be screaming for oxygen. But Doom is never without his will. Doom is never without his will, and thus I deny, what does that say? And thus I deny both Richards and death. Their drowning of my lungs are to be found dry, for Doom chooses suffocation. This is some of the most baller shit I have ever seen in my entire life. Doom right here is drowning in water. He is drowning in the ocean. He is sinking to the bottom of the ocean. But his will is so iron that he says, I will not panic and succumb and breathe water. I am just going to hold my breath until I drop dead. I will be damned if I give the ocean and Richards the benefit of me sucking water down my throat and drowning. I will suffocate before I give them the benefit. And that is so incredible. That is such a badass moment to me. I love that moment. And then, of course, he respawns and he has to do it all again. And, essentially we get, this is the whole issue, like if you've seen Groundhog Day, or if you've seen any of those movies, Happy Death Day, where, people come back and what was the Tom Cruise movie, Edge of Tomorrow, where he constantly respawns on the battlefield. That's essentially what you get here for the rest of the issue. Doom attempting to save the Titanic so it can bring Latveria fame and fortune and wealth. But like I said, my favorite part about this whole issue was that moment where Doom defies drowning and chooses instead to suffocate. But basically, towards the end, we get Doom saving the day. He saves the Titanic. He prevents it from crashing or whatever. And then he quantum leaps into his next spot, which looks like it's going to be really, really great. And this is it right here. July 1775, the Siege of Boston. Mr. Washington, sir, we await your orders. And look who he comes into. And so we're looking at right now that Dr. Doom has quantum leaped into George Washington. And we see next issue right here, Revolution. But this was just such an incredible character work issue on Doom here to me that it really stood out above all the other books I read this week. Ryan North just has Doom down to a T. He understands him so incredibly well. And like I said, that scene with him refusing to drown and instead choosing to suffocate is going to be one of the top, it's going to go on the Mount Rushmore of Doom moments. But my best of the best book, only got one this week, but it was one hell of a book, Dune Quest #2. So till next time, I will talk to you guys later. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.